Mataji is here.
Yeah. Thank you, Jyoti Mataji, for joining. Thank you.
Okay, Veda, you can put it on now.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today's reciters are Purta Prabhuji will be reciting in Sanskrit and Hitesh Prabhuji will be reciting in English from Canto 3, Chapter 6, verses 1 to 20. So, Purta Prabhuji, whenever you are ready, can you please start with invocation? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 3, Chapter 6, Creation of the Universal Form, Text 1. Rishi Ruvacha iti tasham swasaktinam satinam asamityasa prasupta lokatantranam nishamya gatimishvaraha.
Translation, text 1. The Rishi Maitreya said, the Lord thus heard about the suspension of the progressive creative functions of the universe due to the non-combination of his potencies, such as the Mahatattva.
Text 2. Kala sangyam tada devim bibrat shaktim urukrama trayo vimsati tatvanam ganam yugapad avishat.
The Supreme Powerful Lord then simultaneously entered into the 23 elements with the goddess Kali, his external energy, who alone amalgamates all the different elements.
Text 3. So nupravishto bhagavams cheshta rupena tam ganam vinnam samyo yajam asha suktam karma prabodhayan.
Thus, when the personality of Godhead entered into the elements by his energy, all the living entities were enlivened into different activities, just as one is engaged in his work after awakening from sleep.
Text 4. Prabuddha karma daivena trayo vimsatiko ganaha prerito ajanayat svabhir matrabhiradhipurusham.
When the 23 principal elements were set in action by the will of the Supreme, the gigantic universal form, or the Vira, Visarvarup, or the Visavara Rupa body of the Lord came into existence.
Text 5. Harena vishata swasmin matraya vishvasrigana chukshobhanya yonyam asadya yasmin lokaschara chara.
As the Lord, in his plenary portion, entered into the elements of the universal creation, they transformed into the gigantic form in which all the planetary systems and all movable and immovable creations rest.
Text 6. Hiranmaya sa purusha sahasra parivatsaran andakosha upashapsu sarvasatvopabrimmitaha.
The gigantic Virat Purusa, known as Hiranmaya, lived for 1,000 celestial years on the waters of the universe, and all the living entities lay with him.
Text 7. सा भै विश्वसृजं गर्भो देवकर्मत्मशक्तिमन् विभाजात्मनात्मानम् एकधा दशधा त्रिधा.
The total energy of the Mahatattva in the form of the gigantic Virat Rupa divided himself by himself into the consciousness of the living entities, the life of activity and self-identification, which are subdivided into 1, 10, and 3 respectively.
Text 8. एषा हि अशेषास्वत्वनम् आत्मं सा परमात्मनः आद्यो अवतरो यत्र सौ भूतग्रामो विभाव्यते.
The gigantic universal form of the Supreme Lord is the first incarnation and plenary portion of the Supersoul. He is the self of an unlimited number of living entities, and in him rests the aggregate creation, which thus flourishes.
Text 9. Sadhyatmata sadhidaivascha sadhibhuta iti tridha virat prano dashavida ekadha hridayena cha.
The gigantic universal form is represented by 3, 10, and 1, in the sense that he is the body and the mind and the senses. He is the dynamic force for all movements by the 10 kinds of life energy, and he is the one heart where life energy is generated.
Text 10. Smaran Vishwasrijam Misho Vijaniptam Madhuksaja Virajam Matapatsvena Tejasaishwam Vivrittaye.
The Supreme Lord is the supersoul of all the demigods, entrusted with the task of constructing the cosmic manifestation. Being thus prayed to by the demigods, he thought to himself, and thus manifested the gigantic form for their understanding.
Text 11. Atha tasya vitaptasya kathidayata naniha nirabhidayanta devanam tani me gadatha shrinu.
Maitreya said, "You may now hear from me how the Supreme Lord separated himself into the diverse forms of the demigods after the manifestation of the gigantic universal form."
Text 12. Tasyagnirasyam nirbhinnam lokapalo avishatpadam vachaswam sena vakyavyam yayashau pratipadyate.
Agni, or heat, separated from his mouth, and all the directors of material affairs entered into it in their respective positions. By that energy, the living entity expresses himself in words.
Text 13. Nirbhinnam talu varuno lokapalo vishadhare jihavaim sena charasam yayashau pratipadyate.
When the palette of the gigantic form was separately manifested, Varuna, the director of water in the planetary systems, entered therein, and thus the living entity has the facility to taste everything with his tongue.
Text 14. Nirbhinne ashvinau nashe vishnuravisatam padam घ्राणेनं शेन गन्धस्य प्रतिपत्तिर्यतो भवेत्.
When the Lord's two nostrils separately manifested themselves, the dual Ashwini Kumaras entered them in the proper positions, and because of this, the living entity can smell aromas of everything.
Text 15. Nirbhinne akshini tvashta lokapalo vishadvibo chakshusam sena rupanam pratipattiryato bhavet.
Thereafter, the two eyes of the gigantic form of the Lord were separately manifested. The sun, the director of light, entered them with the partial representation of eyesight, and thus the living entities can have vision of form.
Text 16. Nirbhannasya charmani lokapalo nilo vishat pranenamshena samsparsham yanashau pratipadyate.
When there was a manifestation of skin separated from the gigantic form, Anila, the deity of directing the wind, entered with partial touch, and thus the living entities can realize tactile knowledge.
Text 17. Karnau vasya vinnirbhinnau dhishnyam swam vivishurdishaha shrotenamshena sabdasya siddhim yena prapadyate.
When the ears of the gigantic form became manifested, all the controlling deities of the directions entered into them with the hearing principle, by which all living entities hear and take advantage of sound.
Text 18. Tvachamasya vinnirbhinnam vivipshurdishnyam oshadhi amsena roma bhikandum yair ashau pratipyadate.
When there was a separate manifestation of skin, the controlling deities or sensations and their different parts entered into it, and thus the living entities feel itching and happiness due to touch.
Text 19. Medhram tasya vinnirbhinnam swadhishnyam ka upavishat reta samsena yanasau anandam pratipadyate.
When the genitals of the gigantic form separately became manifest, then Prajapati, the original living creature, entered into them with his partial semen, and thus the living entities can enjoy sex pleasure.
Text 20. Gurham pumsho vinnirbhinnam mitra lokesha avishat payunam sena yanasau visargam pratipadyate.
The evacuating channels separately became manifest, and the director named Mitra entered into it with partial organs of evacuation. Thus, the living entities are able to pass stool and urine. Hare Krishna, please forgive any mistakes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Shri Prabhupada. Thank you, Hitesh Prabhu, and thank you, I think it's Ram Prabhu. Or, please forgive me if I'm not getting the name right. Thank you for both the
It's
Prabhus.
Purta Prabhuji. It's Purta Prabhuji.
Huh?
Purta Prabhuji. Mamta
Mr.
Mataji.
Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhuji. Yes, thank you so much for the recitation. I just came at the end, but I could just hear the last verse. My humble obeisances to all of you, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada for allowing me to give this, to be present among all of you. Hare Krishna. So before we start, can we do the Mangala Charan? Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadiya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Jai Shri Krishna. My humble obeisance to all your devotees. Today, I think we have to talk about verses from 5 to 8 of chapter 6, canto 3. First of all, I would like to really say that I'm not even qualified to even sit and describe this universal form of the Lord. It is such a great thing where, I mean, it's difficult as a conditioned soul, all of us, to even fathom the big form of the Lord. And plus also, this is very, very important for all of us to know who the Lord is and what the Lord is actually. And so to give, this is the evidence to say that this is the Lord and not any other person over here who tries to say that. How Krishna will show his Virat Rupa is for, not for Arjuna and anybody else, but for all the atheists or non-believers, for them to prove that this is the Lord. So, let's start off with the verses, if that's okay. Chapter 5, sorry, verse 5. Is anybody willing to read, please? If that's okay.
Can I do Mataji, please?
Please, Shavani Mataji, thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Parina swasmin Mataraya Vishvashrigana Chukshobhanayo Yanyam Asada Daya Yasmin Lokas Chara Chara. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As the Lord in his plenary portion entered into the elements of the universal creation, they transformed into the gigantic form in which all the planetary systems and all movable and immovable creation rest. Purport. The elements of cosmic creation are all matter and have no potency to increase in volume unless entered into by the Lord in his plenary portion. This means that matter does not increase or decrease unless it is spiritually touched. Matter is a product of spirit and increases only by the touch of spirit. The entire cosmic manifestation has not assumed its gigantic form by itself, as wrongly calculated by less intelligent person. As long as the spirit is within matter, matter can increase as needed, but without the spirit, matter stops increasing. For example, as long as there is spiritual consciousness within the material body of a living entity, the body increases to the required size. But a dead material body, which has no spiritual consciousness, stops increasing. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, importance is given to the spiritual consciousness, not the body. The entire cosmic body increased by the same process that we experience in our small bodies. One should not, however, foolishly think that the individual infinitesimal soul is the cause of gigantic manifestation of the universal form. The universal form is called the Virat Roop because the Supreme Lord is within it in his plenary portions. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So basically, I'm trying to see like whether just to go back into the whole of the creation and how it started. So first of all of us know that how the expansions of the Lord into the 4 expansions first, and then again the second expansions. So all of us know that Lord Krishna is the origin of all Vishnu Tattvas, yeah. And then from Krishna comes Balarama, then Sankarshana, then Narayana, then Sankarshana, and again twice it happens again, the same Balarama, Sankarshana, Narayana, and Sankarshana. And from Sankarshana comes all these Vishnu Purusha avatars, which we are going to talk. So what are the Vishnu Purusha avatars? So the Vishnu Purusha avatars are, first one is the Karanara Dakshaya Vishnu. So this is the Vishnu, Mahavishnu, otherwise it's called the Mahavishnu. So he lies in this causal ocean or the Karanajal. From him comes, or through him comes, through the pores of him comes all the small universes. And in that universes, we have the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Okay, so Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is where we are still over here, over there. We still don't come to the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So now we have to understand what we have come over here, where the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So from the Karanadakshaya Vishnu comes the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And over here, what happens? All the where Vishnu will, so where the material nature we have, material nature, which is again is part of the Lord, that is basically very, very still over there. It is called the Pradhana, where there is no tattva in it. There is no activity in that material nature. Now that material nature or the Pradhana will become active once Lord, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu will glance into the material nature, and along with Kala, the time is the main ingredient of here. So when the time is injected into this material nature, then the activities develop. And when the activities develop, so that is called Mahatattva. So the Mahatattva is, otherwise this whole material nature without the time is called Pradhana. So it is quite still, and it is quite it's not even active, this mode. And so from the Mahatattva, then again, once the activity starts, then all the other modes start coming out. So over here, what Srila Prabhupada is trying to say is that the whole pradhana without the consciousness, without the spirit, is just of no use, basically. So how he's giving a beautiful example of here, where body, once the spirit leaves the body, it is just useless. There's nothing there. So the body can only form different things, or it can grow, or it can develop only when there is the spirit in them, or when there is consciousness in them. So what is this consciousness? We have to understand. What is this consciousness for us? It is such a tiny thing. All of us should know that it is the soul in us. It is the soul in us which the Lord has given. It's a part and parcel of the Lord which is present in our hearts.
And all of us should know what it actually means as consciousness. And just to give you the little bit of quality of the consciousness, I just wanted to say, what are the qualities of consciousness? So how big is it? And what it can do? And it's not like any other materialistic thing. It is such a tiny, tiny fraction. And where does it reside? Something, I'm just trying to get this up over here. But you have to understand that this is a very tiny, small fraction. It is like 1,000th of a hair. That is how the consciousness is. And nothing can destroy it. So nothing can cut it, nothing can destroy it, no fire, it cannot be submerged with water, it cannot be burnt with fire, it cannot be cut by any weapon. So you should understand how that consciousness is. So that is by itself an entity which is a part and parcel of the Lord. So let me just try to get the... So basically it is, so that is otherwise the consciousness which we call is called the soul. And the soul, what are its qualities? It is eternal. So it is never destroyed. It is always living. It lived before. It is going to live after we die. So because the material body dies, but the soul does not die. And then it is always very, very knowledgeable. This consciousness is so knowledgeable. So this is where we have to find our consciousness. We only become knowledgeable when we realize our consciousness and we recognize that it is there. And then the knowledge comes out. And it is blissful. It is very transcendental. And where is it situated? So it is situated near the Paramatma. So it is dovetailing the Paramatma all the time. So it is behind the Paramatma, trying to basically get the characteristics of the Paramatma as much as possible, or the purity. And that is called the super soul. So super soul is the Paramatma and yours is the soul. And where does it lie? It lies in the heart. So the heart is the main station, is the main house of the soul and the super soul. So everybody in anything, I think anything you want to say which is emotional, you always feel it in the heart. So that could be one of the reasons maybe why we feel like that, because the soul is feeling it. And they say like you should go by your heart or by heart feelings or by intuition. So that gives a little bit of a recognition that yes, it is because of the soul. So the soul will tell us what is right, what is wrong. So if somebody who goes by the heart is doing the right thing, with the mind is always the mind plays tricks. So you have to be very careful because mind doesn't have feelings. Okay. So it is the heart which has the feelings. So if you're doing with your heart, that means you're doing the right thing. And as we said, it is like 1,000th of the tip of the hair, and it is unborn. It is eternal. It has always been there. It has been private. It has been there from before. So nothing can break it. Nothing can change it. Yeah. And we cannot see it properly, and nobody can understand it. It's inconceivable. And it is not destroyed by weapon, fire, water, wind, or anything at all. So this is like some part of the soul. I thought we should just bring it up in this situation. So because of here, what happens is the spirit which is there, because of the spirit only, the whole cosmos, anything we create is because of the spirit. So whatever we do, I feel, all of us, we always realize, it's just emphasis from my heart I'm trying to say, is that when people pass away, people do lots of things for them. When people die, then they start thinking about them. I wish I could have done this. So we should try to do things when the spirit is with us, not when it has departed. So when the person is alive in flesh and blood and bones, we should try to do as much as possible. So anything you want to, obviously people, all of us, we don't realize, we don't have time. We have done so many things that we do not even think. We take things for granted. And by the time the time passes away and the soul departs from us, and then it is too late for us to do the things which we wanted to do. So sometimes we feel like if you have the feeling to do things for someone, do it at that time, because the time will never come again. So if you want to donate something, do. If you want to do a good deed for somebody, do it at that time. It's with whatever within your constraints, whatever you could do. Because I've seen many times I'll postpone it, I'll do it next time. It will never come. So example of here is that without the spirit, nothing is alive. So the soul is alive. When the soul is alive, then things will happen. When soul is not alive, things can't happen. So over here, what happens? Entire cosmic manifestation. Now it was just like a lump of mud, like you would think, but the energy into it, which is infused with the Lord's consciousness, makes the universe grow and develop into different things. So this is where you will have, so when we say about the Mahatattva, how the Mahatattva happens is when Vishnu glances at the material nature, the Pradhana, and then he injects the Kala or the time. The time is the main thing. So everything is limited by the time for us. So when the Kala is injected, then the whole Pradhana or the material nature becomes agitated, and then it becomes a Mahatattva, and from that comes the different modes. Okay, can we go to the next verse, please, if that's okay? So we'll talk about the universal form a bit later. If somebody can...
I don't mind.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hiranyamaya sapurushaha sahasra parivatsaran andakosha upasapsu sarvasat vopa brehitaha. The gigantic Virat Purusha, known as Hiranyamaya, lived for 1,000 celestial years on the water of the universe, and all the living entities lay with him. The purport. After the Lord entered each and every universe, as the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, half of the universe was filled with water. The cosmic manifestation of the planetary systems, outer space, etc., which are visible to us, is only 1/2 of the complete universe. Before the manifestation takes place and after the entrance of Vishnu within the universe, there is a period of 1,000 celestial years. All the living entities injected within the womb of the Mahatattva are divided in all the universes and the incarnations of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and all of them lie down with the Lord until Brahma is born. Brahma is the first living being within the universe, and from him all other demigods and living creatures are born. Manu is the original father of mankind, and therefore, in Sanskrit, mankind is called Manushya. Humanity in different bodily qualities is distributed throughout the various planetary systems. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
So
you.
over here, when obviously after this, when the Mahatattva is formed, then it becomes the gigantic. Then the Lord takes the form of a Virata Purusha, which they call as Hiranyamaya. Hiran is like golden form, basically. It's a golden form. And then what happens? Nothing happens over there. So all of them, they lie silent in the universe under the ocean for many thousands of years. So basically over here, what is happening is the whole earth, everything is filled up with water, and then all the living entities are underneath over there in the water for so many years. Where Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, then from the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu's navel comes the beautiful lotus, and from there, then he creates Brahma. So meanwhile, what happens? So Brahma is created. Once Brahma is created, then obviously Garbhodakshaya Vishnu gives the task to Brahma only after he learns all the Vedas and everything, once he learns all the Vedic scriptures, he gives him the task. But you should understand, everybody says Brahma is the creator, but no, Brahma is not the creator, he's the engineer. Because all the elements, ingredients are given by the creator, by Mahavishnu. He is given all the ingredients. And with those ingredients, then Brahma starts making things, He'll make human beings, he'll make animals, he'll make trees, he'll make mountains, he'll make rivers, he'll make everything, living entity. But the ingredients were given by the creator. So Brahma, we say Brahma is the creator, but Brahma is not the creator, he's the engineer. So the creator is obviously the Lord, Daksha Vishnu. So, and the first, so Brahma is being the first living being within the universe. And obviously from him, everybody develops, all the demigods, every living creature comes out from that. And Manu, we say, is the first man. So therefore Manushya, that is why it is, well, man, Manu. English also has come from there, it looks like man. And then all from there, then all the different types of, we call it, the planetary systems are formed. So before that, so basically we should know that how this Srimad Bhagavatam, it has this 10 subjects of Srimad Bhagavatam we need to know a bit. So I just wanted to say that how the Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes the various incarnations of Lord Hari. So these 10 important subjects, through these 10 important subjects. So what is that? They are called, in the Sanskrit word, they are called Sarga. Sarga is the basic elemental creation, which we are talking about now. So Sarga is the basic elemental creation. And then we have Visarga. Visarga is the secondary creation, which will come later when we talk. Then we will talk about Sthanam, which is called the planetary systems, from where you'll see all the different planets. We have 14 planets. And then Poshanam, where protection by the Lord. Then we'll have, you see Narasimhadev and everybody, how God protects us. Then Uttaya. Uttaya is the creative impetus. Then Manavantara is the periods of Manu. These are all described in the Bhagavatam. Then Isha Anukatha, which is the science of God. We'll learn about the science of God. Then Nirodha, how the dissolution. Mukti, how we get liberated. And Ashraya, the supreme shelter. So in this Sarga, which is called the elemental creation, so it is, how is it defined? It is defined as Bhuta Matrendriya Dhyam Janma Sarga Udharita. So the elemental creation of the 16 principles of matter. So what are the 16 principles of matter which are created? They are the 5 gross elements, which are called the Panchabhutas. And the Panchabhutas are the earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And then we have the 5 objects of sense perceptions, which are called the Tanmatras. So Tanmatras are, we have the sound, form, taste, smell, and touch. And the 5 knowledge acquiring senses are called the Jnanendriyas. And that is the eyes, ears, through which we feel the senses. The eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. And the mind is known, the Sarga. So that together with the mind, these 16 principles are created by the first Purusha incarnation. That is Mahavishnu. So within these 16 principles, 8 other principles again exist subtly, making there a total of 24 principles of the material existence. So this is, with all these ingredients, then what happens? They're all lying in this form, Virata form, where they lie in the celestial ocean. And basically they cannot, I think this was, God had given these things to different, he's given these, what do you say, the responsibility to these people, and responsibility to all these, to the demigods and all that, but they could not actually do the work. And so they will all go back to, again, with Brahma and everybody else, all the demigods will go back to Kshirodaksha Vishnu, which will be created from Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And there they will again request the Kshirodaksha Vishnu to help help them create the whole thing, to give sense, And Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul, which he enters into each and every living entity. And from then comes the secondary creation, which obviously you will learn later. So should we do the next verse, please? Anybody who could read the next purport and the verse, please? Savai Vishwasrijam Garbho Savai Vishwasrijam Garbho Deva Karmatma Shaktiman Vibhabhajatmanatman Manamekadhatashadhatridha. So the total energy of the Mahatattva in the form of the gigantic Virat Rupa divided himself by himself into the consciousness of the living entities, the life of activity and self-identification, which are subdivided into 1, 10, and 3 respectively. So consciousness is the sign of the living entity or the soul. The existence of the soul is manifest in the form of consciousness called Jnana Shakti. The total consciousness is that of the gigantic Virat Rupa, and the same consciousness is exhibited in individual persons. The activity of consciousness is performed through the air of life, which is of 10 divisions. The airs of life are called Prana, Apana, Udana, Vyana, and Samana, and also differently qualified as Naga, Kurma, Krikara, Devadatta, and Dhananjaya. The consciousness of the soul becomes polluted by material atmosphere, and thus various activities are exhibited in the false ego by bodily identification. These various activities are described in Bhagavad Gita 2.41 as Bahushakha. Hai Anantascha Buddhayo Vyavasayinam. The conditioned soul is bewildered into various activities for want of pure consciousness. In pure consciousness, the activity is one. The consciousness of the individual soul becomes one with the supreme consciousness when there is complete synthesis between the two. The monist believes that there is only one consciousness, whereas the Sattvatas or the devotees believe that although there is undoubtedly one consciousness, they are one because there is agreement. The individual consciousness is advised to dovetail with the supreme consciousness, as instructed by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam praja. The individual consciousness, Arjuna, is advised to dovetail with the supreme consciousness and thus maintain his conscious purity. It is foolish to try to stop the activities of consciousness, but they can be purified when they dovetail with the supreme. This consciousness is divided into 3 modes of self-identification according to the proportion of purity. Adhyatmika, or self-identification with the body and mind. Adi Bhautika, or self-identification with the material products. And Adi Daivika, or self-identification of the servant of the Lord. Of the 3, Adi Daivika self-identification is the beginning of purity of consciousness in pursuance of the desire of the Lord. So they're talking, mostly Prabhupada is trying to talk about the consciousness over here. So basically, how the consciousness is represented over here, how we can see, in the Virat Rupa, whatever the consciousness of the Virat Rupa, that is injected into each and every individual person over there. And because of that, so how Kshirodakshaya Vishnu goes into each and every soul, but there's also the consciousness of every jiva. So the jiva and the Paramatma together, obviously, there should be a pact all the time. So here we say like they should go close together. Obviously, there's one bird looking at the other bird to see when the other bird is going to turn towards it. And the super soul is always wanting the soul to look towards it and come towards its direction. But we are all so much engrossed in our material worlds that we become so much engrossed in material worlds that we forget that there is a super soul in us. So all that now we are following in this Bhagavatam class or chanting or reading, hearing all this text, this makes us realize that the super soul is waiting for us, and then we have to really go towards the super soul and detach from all these materialistic things, and then go towards it. So over here, so the because we are so conditioned, and because of the material energy around us, we are always bewildered, we are so confused. But more you come towards the super soul, the more the clarity becomes, and the more your consciousness starts purifying. So over here, Lord Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Vraja. So just leave all religions and come to me. That's what it says. So you have to just leave everything and then go. And that is, Krishna is there to protect you, to look after you. So the earlier we realize that, the more better it is for our consciousness. Now again, this consciousness, again, depending upon which mode you are in, is divided into different things. Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika, and Adi Bhautika. Yeah, Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, and Adi Daivika. So in Adhyatmika, it is with the, so Adhyatmika is the one where obviously we are, it is to do with the mind, body and the mind, and intelligence most of the time. And then Adi Bhautika is obviously with the materialistic things, where we have all these elements which we go on with. And Adi Daivika is the most, the one that comes with the goodness, and that is mostly with the purity. So all of us have to try to get into the mode of goodness, so that our consciousness will be like the higher demigods or higher beings. So the next one, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Can I read, please? Is it text
Please,
page, right?
please,
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Isha yesh asheta sarvanam atma shaha paramatmanaha adhyovataro yatrashau bhuta grama vibhavyate. Translation: the gigantic universal form of the Supreme Lord is a first incarnation and plenary portion of the Super Soul. He is a self of an unlimited number of living entities, and in him rests the aggregate creation which thus flourishes. Purport: the Supreme Lord expands himself in two ways, by personal plenary expansions and separated minute expansions. The personal plenary expansions of Vishnu Tattvas and the separated expansions of living entities. Since the living entities are very small, they are sometimes described as a marginal energy of the Lord. But the mystic yogis consider the living entities and the super soul, Paramatma, to be one and the same. It is, however, a minor point of controversy. After all, everything created rests on the gigantic Virata or universal form of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. It is quite self-explanatory over here, is that how the Supreme Lord, how he expands himself, So he has his own personal, all the incarnations which we have are called the Vishnu Tattvas. They are his personal plenary expansions. And then obviously all of us, how we have this part of the Tattva also, which we give to these living entities are formed from those Tattvas. But here how the yogis, they think that the super soul and the soul is same, they think, but it is never the same. We all of us know that. So what we have to understand over here is that soul and super soul is never the same. The qualities could be the same, but they differ in the quantities most of the time. So if you can understand that little bit of clarity, if you have, then I think it will be much, much more better. And plus, I just wanted to say is that do you all know that how many times the universal form of the Lord was shown to different people in the world? How many times do you think the form was shown? So from why over here I can get whatever information I have. At least minimum 5 times, but it can be more than that also. So if you count different variations. So the first time when Krishna showed his universal form, when the Lord showed the universal form, was as a baby, actually, as a baby to Mother Yashoda. And that was when, I think, when Mother Yashoda was trying to feed. This is just a little bit out of this because the Virat form was coming out, of the universal form was coming. I thought I'll just add this over here and then I'll open it up for discussion. I know there's so much to discuss about this analytical thing of, it's quite an analytical thing of creation. So just to break the monotony, I thought I'd just bring this here. So when Krishna, when Mother Yashoda gives milk to Krishna and puts him to, or gives curd or something to put him to sleep, then he yawns. When he yawns, he sees all these planets over there, but she didn't think much of it, that she sees all these moving and non-moving entities and all these mountains and islands and oceans and all this wind, fire, all this, everything in all the planets and everything she sees. She sees literally everything, apparently. She says the Vrindavan, she sees all different types of beings, she sees all the senses. She couldn't make any sense of it. She didn't think much of it. And that is one time. And the second time, obviously, when Balrama says, oh, Krishna is eating mud. And that is when, second time, she asks him to open the mouth, and then she sees the whole world over there. Then third time, Virata Rupa, you can see, is when Lord Krishna, when he goes, before the Kurukshetra war starts, then he goes to make peace with Duryodhana. But Duryodhana, he couldn't even handle it. So actually, Krishna shows his Virat Rupa over there too. But Duryodhana could not handle that. He could not even look upon this devastatingly effulgent form. But and the other Kaurava kings and all, they also literally could not see it. But only people who could see were Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Vidura, Sanjaya, and some of the sages. They were able to see all the Virat form. And then obviously the denizens, they showered flowers and obviously made blue conches and made the sounds of kettle drums in all directions. So apparently Dhritarashtra, he heard the commotion and he prayed that Krishna allow him to see, the vision he gave it to the Kauravas. So Krishna apparently granted him momentary eyesight and giving him the divine ability to see the unseeable. Then obviously Krishna just withdrew his the universal form, and then he knew that now the war is going to happen, and then he, with Satyaki and Kritavarma, he left the palace. So that is again the third time. Then the fourth time, when Krishna obviously shows, which is the very famous one all of us know, in the battle of Kurukshetra, where he shows his universal form to Arjuna. And here in Bhagavad Gita, and also in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1, second canto, first chapter and 24th verse, this Virata Rupa, as we say, was not, it was shown for other people more than for Arjuna. Arjuna also it was shown, but it was more for other people. Which here Prabhupada writes over here is that it writes that the Lord Krishna, by his request of Arjuna, exhibited his Virat Rupa for the Asuras. A pure devotee of the Lord, being unaccustomed to looking into such a mundane, gigantic form of the Lord, requires special vision for the purpose. So therefore the Lord favored Arjuna with special vision for looking into his Virata Rupa. And this Virat Rupa was specially manifested not for the benefit of Arjuna, but for that unintelligent class of men who accept anyone and everyone as an incarnation of the Lord, and so misled the general mass of the people. For them, the indication is that one should ask the chief incarnation to exhibit his Virata Rupa and thus be established as an incarnation. So basically, it was to challenge an atheist and favor for the asuras who can think of the Lord as Virat. So this is another time when the Lord actually showed the universal form. And then the fifth one was that, so this is a very interesting one which I didn't know. And it is basically, it is written in the Mahabharata apparently, in the 14th book, Ashwamedha Parva. In that, after the war of Kurukshetra, then Krishna was going towards Dwarka. And then he met his old friend who? The sage Uttanka. So they sat down to talk, and then Krishna told him of the details of the war and all that. But Uttanka, the sage, he found that why did Krishna not stop the war? And because he had the power to do so, why did he not do it? So then the conversation became a bit more, it spiraled. It became a bit more heated. And basically, apparently, Uttanka threatened to curse Lord Krishna with his yogic powers. But then Krishna told him, your curse will not affect me, It is because obviously he was the source of all the mystic powers. So, but apparently Uttanka doubted that Krishna was powerful enough to avert the curse. So he challenged him. So then Krishna manifested his Virata Rupa. And then Uttanka obviously was very much blessed. And he saw the same vision that Krishna had previously shown to Arjuna. Then Uttanka apparently glorified Krishna in many ways. And then asked him to withdraw this very bhyanak, very overwhelming form. And then Krishna did give him a boon. He said that he would never, apparently he assured him that he would have water whenever he needed it without ever going thirsty, that he would never go thirsty. He did not understand apparently this boon. And some years later, he found himself in the desert and almost dying of thirst. Then he was relieved when the rain clouds apparently mysteriously appeared, and then they supplied water in this moment, So today in India, apparently, when clouds appear in the desert or during a drought-like condition, they're called as Uttanka's clouds. So Uttanka's clouds, or Uttanka Megha, this call them apparently. So we also talk about the universal form of Vamana Deva when he displayed his large form to Bali Dev, Bali Maharaj. And also they talk about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he shows universal form to his intimate devotees. This is apparently said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 17.10. And he briefly mentions that Advaita Acharya had a vision of the Virata Rupa. And then also in Chaitanya Bhagavata, both Sri Advaita and Nityananda Prabhu were also able to see this confidential manifestation of the Supreme, and they were literally dancing like peacocks. So there's so many forms of Virat forms, revelations, of the Lord we could see in the whole of the scriptures. It has been described. So obviously the creation of the universe you will get now as we go on through the things. You will have the elementary creation, and then you'll also have the secondary creation where how the other elements are formed, and then all the planetary systems will come into place, and then how basically the rest of the creations you will see as time goes on. So I think I will stop here. There's lots of time. Please comment. I'm so happy to take in any comments. And please, I know there are learned people in the today's meeting. Please give your input regarding the forms, which I have missed at any point. Hare Krishna. And also we remember in what was the Rishi's name when the Bala Krishna, Bala Mukunda, he takes in the Muni Markandeya, I think, into his nostril, and then he shows him the whole world. That's also one form. It is not like he shows universe, but it's not the Virata Rupa.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna, I was expecting Mataji. Please tell.
always a nice explanation of your class. It's very nice that you explain about the Virat Rupa. That is also the Varaha days when he appeared from the nostril of Lord Brahma. He was so tiny, and within minutes he showed his Virat Rupa, like he became the gigantic bow. That is also there. And yes, that's very nice that you explain about Chaitanya Chaitamrita and all that. Yes, we know there are more, but that we don't know.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we have to search, Mataji. We have to really search and write it down.
Yes. So, why the yogis think that the Jiva and Paramatma are the same, right? So, because most of the yogis, they try to leave their body at the time that they want. And what happens is they think that, yes, they want to explore the outer spaces. They are not, they are jnanis, they are yogis, they are not Vaishnavas. If they were Vaishnava, they would get their knowledge that our final destination is Golok Vrindavan. But for them, they think that they can enjoy in other outer planetary system. That's why they go. But when some of them reach outer planetary system, then they realize that they are higher bliss. Some of them are lucky, but some of them are not. They come back to this material world. That's why they don't have this knowledge. Because jnanis, we are jnanis, we just read and then we repeat. So, but great sadhus, they do research. Real Vaishnava, they go further, and then they prove their points also. So this is there. That's what I just wanted to add. Also, you talked about whatever we have to do, we should be doing it when somebody is alive. That is good. That is true. That we should be doing, like giving a gift so the person can appreciate, talking to a person. That is good there. But when the person leaves the body also, we have certain things that we need to do. Because when the person leaves the body, the soul leaves the body, the soul is still carrying with it the knowledge, the false ego, the mind, all these are going. But we have to still do some rituals to purify and to help them the journey, because they are being taken, but great Vaishnavas are being taken by Vishnu Dutas. Not all the souls are being taken by Vishnu Dutas. Our soul, my soul for sure will not be taken by Vishnu Dutas. My soul will be taken by Yamadutas, because of so many sins that we keep committing every single day in our life. Without realizing we are committing great sins every day. I'm taking 2 free baths per day. How many hot water is going in the bathtub and killing so many lives, right? Like this, there are lots of things that we do that we don't understand. So yes, and then that soul, it has a journey. Throughout the journey, Yamadutas will give more punishment if we don't give the water, we don't give the tarpan, we don't do the strat. All these are there. That's why whenever it's not only in our religion. If you see Muslim, if you see Christian, as soon as somebody passes away, they also start doing their prayers. Prayers is there. I have assisted so many of, because where I live there are Muslims, there are Christians, and we used to go because we were like family. Nobody was fighting or whatever, but we would go when somebody passes away, and we would sit there and listen to their prayers, even though we didn't understand much. They will, in the Christian, they will take their guitar, they will sing their cantic, and all these were there. So why? It's just for the soul to get a clear path. And then the Yamadutas also are happy. They are not like like your loved ones, the family that you love so much, are not giving anything. We give water, we make the pinda dan, that must be done. But
Yes.
yes, Mataji, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. I just want to add on that also because it's so important. Yes, very true, Mataji. What I was trying to explain over there was when it is for us, maybe it is our guilt that we could not able to when somebody is alive, we do as much as possible. But you're right, Mataji. We also have to do when the soul has passed, left this body, because obviously they might be in some other journey, somewhere transit, but with your memory, you can do as much as possible. And something also we should not, when the soul is not, when the body is not there, well, when the person is not there, people still keep on talking about them in a negative way. So we should not do that, because again, that is also causing offense, especially when they are not there in the body form to defend themselves or to talk about what is right or wrong. So I think Vaisheshika Guru Maharaj, I call him as Guru Maharaj because that's where I'm aspiring to. So he is in his prayers, he says, well, obviously we do not want to ninda. We should not do ninda to anyone. So you should avoid ninda as much as possible. So try not to criticize anyone, not say negative things with anyone. Because as we know, once we say, we cannot take it back. It's so difficult. It's just like once the sword is out of its cover, then it's difficult to put it back, So whether the person is alive or not alive, it is that soul we should look at, because whatever we are saying it towards the Lord, towards the Atma, towards the Paramatma, because it is all part and parcel of the Lord. So anything we say, anything negative to somebody else, basically we're saying it to the Lord. So that it's so easy to talk, but we should try to practice, and we'll try our level best to practice not to say any negative things about anyone. Be a very good Vaishnava, that's what I would say. And it's not easy to be a good Vaishnava. So all of us are here. We can only try our level best, and slowly, hopefully, we'll be more and more polished, and then it'll become more and more pure, and we can remove all the dust from our soul so that we can see our inner soul and inner Atma. We can see our Paramatma also inside. So we can see our own reflection inside to see that, hopefully. We will hear more, and I'm sure with beautiful devotees like all of you, we can learn more and more. And with the kindness, all of your shower, all of
Yes,
us will change.
Mataji. Also, we people do read Garud Puran. After somebody passes away, they read Garud Puran. And why? Why do people read Garud Puran? Garud Puran tells you how to live life. Garud Puran tells you what happens after death. So why don't we read Garud Puran when we are alive? Why do we wait when we die and somebody else will read? We will not. What are you going to get from it? When we read Garud Puran, then we know how to live. So also we should not cry. It doesn't matter how dear that person. It's difficult because we are human beings, have emotion. But it is said that if we cry, the more tears we shed, the more difficult that person will get to cross the Vaitharani River. Vaitharani River is not only Papi Log will go through. Even the pious people go through Vaitharani River. Vaitharani River turns blissful for them, like nectar for the pure soul. But for bad souls, it turns like Vaitharani is very, very bad. So also we should be very careful about that, not crying too much. Now, another thing is, we are talking about not talking about other people. So we see sometimes good people are suffering and bad people are not suffering. Why is it so? We get this question often. Why? Because the bad people, they know they are doing something bad. They will not talk about anyone else. They will keep on doing their business. But good people will point out that person is doing this, that person, everybody will talk about him because he or she is, because they are doing bad things. Now, what is happening? All our good karma is going to them, and their bad karma is coming to us. That's why we are suffering and they are enjoying. That is such a simplest answer that we can give to somebody who asks why good people suffer, bad people don't suffer. Bad people is not talking about good people. They're minding their own business. But we good people, we point out to them, he's doing that, she's doing this, she's like that. So all their bad karmas filling our basket. We get it.
I don't know about that, Mataji. I know that we have a one old prarabdha, whatever we have done since, that's why we are like this way. But I don't know yet. I have to.
That is also there, Mataji. Find, you read about it, you will find it. I think Vanita Mataji wants to say something.
Please, I think more people should come in. Yes.
Yes, it's
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I was just laughing at the conversation because, it's easily people will think like that, you see, because of their lack of knowledge, because of the lack of knowledge, they feel like that. But if you have got the knowledge, then you know that you're one above. I actually wanted to know about the Kriya, after the death. When you do the Kriya after the death, the Shraddha ceremony and all that, I feel it's really important to do the Shraddha Kriya and everything. Do you feel that? Do you feel that we should? Because I don't know, does it actually get to them?
That's what we're trying to say, Mataji. How do we know we are not? This is what.
Yeah.
Why is it written in the scriptures? The reason it's written in the scriptures is we need to do for them during that, and usually during this time when Mahalaya time, that's the time when they come. And to do all this Shraddha, you have to do every time. That's the time apparently they come. This is what I've heard. So I need to learn a bit more about things. Apparently the people, so it's not necessary that everybody goes off to heaven or anything. Depending upon their whatever previous past lives and what they have done. So some will still be there. The spirit souls will be there. So they will, that is the time apparently they're given that thing to come to the earth and have whatever nourishment. So basically you're nourishing them with, it's not like a little bit of water and a little bit of rice will not, that is enough for them, but you need to give it to them. And that is the time they're released, apparently they come towards the earth.
But what I don't understand is that, when they're alive, they've done these ceremonies. They say, like, I have done all the ceremonies, you don't need to do anything. Yeah?
Okay, Mataji, can I say something?
Yeah, please.
Go and read the pastime of Gokaran and Dundakari. Go in Bhagavatam, is there, right?
Please, please, Mataji, why don't you just put it in the...
Yes, I will tell you. Now, when the soul leaves a body, the soul is so attached to the body, the soul doesn't go directly. The soul stays there for 10 or 13 days.
13 days. 13 days.
Yeah. So that 13 days, the soul stays in that place, in the house, and the soul can witness everything, whatever people are saying about it, and is trying to connect with the people. Sometimes we see that the person who light the fire to the chitta, nowadays it's gas everything, but so those people, everybody should be around them. They should be kept in safe place, clean, and don't go everywhere on their own for the 3-4 days or whatever it is. Because that soul try to enter in that body, and it is, if you do research, you will see about it. Now that soul is there, and that's why for the 10-13 days in details, I can one day, if I get opportunity, I can give you a class on this. Every single day we have to give the pindadan, and with the pindadan, first the head is created, then the mouth, the nose, the eyes, the whole body. 13 days it is like full body, and it's so hungry. That's why we have to do that 13 days, as we say. We do that. Now, after 13 days, that soul will start traveling. That soul will travel for a whole year. And it has got 16 puris, 16 different places that the soul will stop. And in each puri, the soul will remember something. Yes, I did this bad. No, because of the problem that the soul will encounter. Like in one place, maybe instead of rain, rock will fall on his head. then we'll remember that I hit somebody, I did this. And in some places, they will walk on the tamba, very hot. And it's so different, 16 puris, and that will continue. Now, 1 year in our here in this Earth planet is 1 day in Pitrilok. Now, when we go to a doctor, we don't just walk directly to see the doctor, to the surgery. We have to sit and wait. When our turn comes, then we go. Similarly, all the souls are kept, if they have got good deeds, some of the pious deeds, they stay in the Pitrilok. So every year, the Shraddha ceremony comes, then we do the Shraddha ceremony every year. So for them, it's 1 day. For us, it's the whole year. That means they're getting their food every day. That's whatever we are giving. Now, people can argue, oh, they are there. How do they get their food? So we give to the crows. We give to Gau Mata. After doing the Shraddha, we give to the crows, we give to Gau Mata. And some people cook meat and liquors or whatever. We don't do that. We give fruits, we give grains, we give rice, because at the manor, we do that every year. So whatever they have offered to Krishna, the bhoga, they bring it and we put in small plate. I don't know if any one of you have done that. Then we go and feed that to Gau Mata. So through Gau Mata, they get. Now, some people may argue, how come through Gau Mata? Now, just take the example of you have your family members or your parents have gone in another country and you have sent them on holiday and they want to stay for a bit longer. Now they say, we don't have money, we ran out of money, we want to stay long. What do? You go to the bank, you deposit, they take their credit card, they take it from there. In this material world, if something like that can be done from one country to another country, not meeting physically, not giving physically, so what can we say about the Lord who can do anything? That is his creation. He has made it like that. So in that Pitriloka, free generation will stay. Like it can be son, father, grandfather. Now, if the grandson comes, the grandfather will go. Right? Making space for the son to enter, the grandson to enter. This is very, very, it's not complicated, but very nice discussion that we can have, but it is long. We cannot finish it in like few minutes. And people should know about it. Somebody has committed suicide, that will create havoc. That is how we suffer so much because we're not giving the tarpan to the pitris. We are not great devotees, if we are exalted devotees, then we say, okay, all our good deed we can give to our pitris. But we are not. I'm sorry, I'm taking too long. Thank you, Mataji.
No worries, Mataji. Thank you so much for all the input. I think we have overrun now by 2 minutes. But it's a lovely discussion. I think we can, maybe another time, we can sit and we can discuss about this. Or maybe you could share the link, Mataji, to whichever thing where you can get the knowledge. There are lots of devotees of you who would like to know also, even though nobody is saying, but they're hearing very, very patiently and to all these information. So please do share with us in the chat or anything, if you can give it in this chat, or I think it's going to end now. So maybe in a different forum, you can just share it, Mataji, Indulekha Mataji.
Yes, I will try. I will try and find it. Yeah.
Okay. So I think should we just, if there are no more questions, then should we end the session today by saying our Vaishnava prayers? Namrata Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Shravani Mataji?
Beautiful session. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo
Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samvita Koti Vaishnavam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Indulekha Mataji, and
Hare Krishna.
everyone. Hare Krishna.